That's taking forever. You know, you try to do something nice. Oh, jeez. There you go. You finally showed up. I mean, man, what the heck? I don't know. Yeah, you gotta watch me draw. Well, some tales. Well, you'll see this. Yeah. We'll see. Oh, yeah, definitely. That's why this is for later. Oh, I guess I ought to share the video. And the Twitter will do. Yeah, not really. I mean, I don't care about something. Yeah, you pretty much stuck with it. Maybe one more. It does show up on my locals now. That other night it didn't for some reason. But I guess maybe that was due because their operations are out of Florida. Maybe that was the let's do a rumble too. I don't know. Anyway, it's back on there now. So if you're watching local, you're watching it on my local. Yeah. See that part right there? Watch Mr. Nelson, don't care. That's not how I wrote the lyrics for the AI song. Oh, well, whatever. I'm telling you, it's not. There you go. Jeez. Well, obviously, problems still ensue. Let's hope it all works out. So, got a little time before I joined Pat to tape a New York City crime report. So I figured, hey, I'll sneak in this later as fuck. And once again, going to draw the absolute version of Batman, which I did get a copy of. Oh, and I should have put that here, but I didn't. And oh God, the agony of the pain in my back to get up out of this chair and go get it is just too much to ask. So I read it and all that stuff, and it was all right. And I'll talk a little bit about that stuff as I draw a picture of absolute Batman. Makes it sound like that's the only Batman that matters, even though he's brand new and very different from the Batman you know and love. Yes. Oh, well, this is way off. Let's see here. Oh, great. The camera goes out. That's just perfect. That is lovely. Do I switch it out? What are you telling me? What are you telling me, boy? Oh, you got to be shitting me. Pull it out. Put it back in. Turn it off. Turn it on. Okay. There. Good Lord. Ugh. Apologies for that. Better get to it before it goes out again. I don't know. So anyway, read the comic book. It's all right. And the idea is obviously they're doing their take on a Ultimate DC, which they have done before, really. But this one goes a little further in making the character, very distinctively different from the original. They've had kind of, I guess, all-star Batman was supposed to be an attempt at an Ultimate DC take on their characters, similar to what Marvel Comics did with their Ultimate line, which was, for the most part, just a reimagining of it to a point. Because basically, like they started it off with Ultimate Spider-Man when it was the same character. He still had to deal with the death of his uncle and that sort of thing, and that he's Peter Parker, but a lot of it was just sort of updating the scenario that he's in, because pretty much for decades, the origin of him in the early 60s stayed put, even though for the most part a lot of realities of that time no longer applies. I mean, it's like he doesn't go on the Ed Sullivan Show, that sort of thing. And it was a more modern take. And then as it went on, there were more rather drastic differences here and there, but pretty much stayed like that. Then the rest of it, when they did, the Avengers, and they had different, or they didn't even call them the Avengers, they were called the Ultimates. I wonder where they got that name from. Things like that. But still, origin points and stories pretty much the same. Captain America, he was frozen in the ice at the end of World War II, and they find him and all that stuff. But they would change some things that were interesting takes on it, that kind of merged the stories even more than they were originally at the time. It's like the super soldiers serum that gave Captain America his strength and all that. It was lost, because the nasties had killed the scientist who had developed it, and he was determined to keep his experiments so secret. He never really documented it. He kept it all in his mind. So when he was mated, that was it. No one could replicate it. So they were trying to replicate it all these years. And Bruce Banner was a guy working on that. And his take on trying to achieve this was resulted in him becoming the Hulk, and that kind of thing. So that was a means by which to dedicate or, make it more cohesive within that. So things like that could occur. Now they've redone it, and everything is very, very different. Still, like Spider-Man, still the same guy and all that stuff, but the point of time and their ages and whatnot is very different, and so on and so forth. I'm still not entirely certain how Tony Stark could be an adolescent at the time that Peter Parker is in his 30s, but whatever. So it was interesting. It quickly fell flat, in my opinion, and I lost interest in it. So DC has never been all that successful at doing a separate line like that. They've made many attempts. They did a series of graphic novels that they just called, the Earth One books, because it's an alternate universe. So they just say, "Hey, this is the Earth One," not to be confused with the other Earth One. Yeah, which immediately you're confused. But nevertheless, that's what they did, and they were all right. A couple of them were pretty good. The Superman one was okay. The Batman one, of course, had some interesting aspects to it, and but it kind of that fizzled as well. And they always had of comic books from DC called Elseworlds, which is just so what might have been and all that kind of thing. And this is really no different from that, where those were dramatically different, at different times. Batman takes on Jack the Ripper. He's living in those days, superheroes in the Old West, and so on and so forth. Superman battling the Martians in War of the Worlds. Those type of things would happen. Batman being a vampire. And here, you've got a story where uh, Jim Gordon is not the police commissioner; he's the mayor of the town, for instance, and the actual origin of Batman and the tragedy that leads to him is significantly different in this one. So it's probably already been spoiled, but I won't spoil it here. Uh, but it's another thing of another difference is he's not a billionaire. He doesn't have this massive fortune, which not sure how he gets the fancy outfit and all its devices and whatnot in a cape that can do all kinds of crazy stuff. Kind of he can attack people with it and wrap them up and throw them around with it. I mean, it's similar to like Spawn, where his cape can do that. But of course, Spawn is a supernatural entity, and he can control it and attack people with it and all that. So it's it's this sort of thing here and there. Wow, how can we differentiate it? I guess, and throw that around. But he is supposed to be this genius level engineer, so I suppose he got a hold of some material and developed this suit for himself. So of course he doesn't have a butler named Alfred, but there is an Alfred, and this one takes from a lot of these ideas that came of late that Alfred had in his youth had been in, I guess, an MI6 agent, a James Bond, if you will. And that appears to be the case in this one, too. And you see that eventually he's going to join this Batman in this crusade of his and all that. So that's how that works. For the most part, there's this crazy criminal gang unleashed and committing all kinds of terrible havoc. And so the Batman jumps in to teach them a lesson, and does. He's also enormous. He's very big, not just muscular wise, but incredibly tall. As opposed to Batman was always a particularly tall guy, but this is ridiculously giant, and just lands crushing blows on these gangs of idiots. There's already an insinuation something else is afoot here, some sort of experiment going on, I suspect, and that sort of thing. And so it's got some interesting elements to it. The art's okay. I'm not as wowed by it as some others, but it's not bad. And that's about it. There's been some complaints. It's woke. I had read an article by someone who was, this is before I got to see it, that this would be Batman as Antifa. I didn't really see any of that. I suppose to take it that he's not this, wealthy guy. He lives in in the crime alley neighborhood of Gotham, and he's already has grown up and been friends with people whose names are recognized as people who eventually become Batman villains. Will they become villains in this version of Batman? Find out. Same bat time, same bat channel. And so that's how we'll learn the truth there. Just don't know. But as far as him being Antifa, didn't really see anything of that nature. It's only one issue. Perhaps that would become clear later. There's been elements of that. There was some story where protesters were burning down property and stuff. And obviously, whatever, I can't remember who wrote it, was trying to make an allusion to the protests in 2020 and all that. And the idiot argument of that it doesn't really matter because these guys have insurance. And so it's not going to affect anything. So it's not Batman's problem. So he lets them, rage and burn stuff down. A little more than just property damage happened. Some murders did and stuff like that. But nevertheless, even the premise of well, don't worry, it's all insured, so it doesn't matter, is, betrays quite the ignorance of how things work. Usually an analogy of, hey, you know what? If you've got a bucket of water and it's filled to the brim, if you drop a little more water in it, what do you think will happen? And idiots like the comic book writer who made the idiot argument of, well, it's all insured, so it doesn't matter, would have to conclude that nothing would happen. It would stay the same. No, that's not how that works. So anyway, technically speaking, there's already been a depiction of Batman making an Antifa argument. It's okay for me to destroy people's crap because they have more money than I do. So I get to do whatever I want to them and all that. So, but for the most part, it's just supposed to be Batman beating the crap out of bad people, But are they bad? Are we merely assuming their criminality? Yeah, probably something like that. I don't know. I saw some of the previous artwork demonstrating the development of the character, and I thought he would, have. I thought I saw him with red hair, but no, he's still got the jet black hair. But he has a job. He's an engineer, and he works on construction endeavors and that sort of thing. And the Alfred guy figures out who he is pretty quick. And I mean, would he be the only one to figure that out? You wouldn't think so, because I mean, the guy is enormous. And you can't hide that. So, but well, okay, whatever. And of course, he's developed different devices and that sort of thing. So quite a few of the elements are the same for Batman. I mean, the outfit is pretty much the same. It's just the weird cape and this, his, I don't know, gloves wrapping around his arm, which I guess is because of the nature of it being this fabric that he can use, I don't know, like a rope to attack people with, wrap them up in it, capture them in it, stuff like that. And then it splits off like this, almost like it's, 4 extra limbs to him, and which it certainly acts that way. Plus, he's had an affinity for bats, and there's a scene depicting his past that explains that too. It's not the same as the bat flew through the window type thing, but it is there. And also, the anatomy of a bat inspired him for some of his great works that he did. In his engineering. Yes. So, don't know really what to make of it. So far, it is only one issue, and it's, I don't think it's all that bad. But Antifa Batman, no. I've heard people saying it's woke because, once again, they race swap a character. Now, the race swapping, especially these days, because it's just so worn out and done so many times because you have to, and a lot of time is in the thinking that if you characters in comic books were white because it was a racist world, and which means you're calling everybody who gave you these characters were motivated by race or what have you, when the very same people also came up with characters in their own right that were not white characters. But so Batgirl is black, like she is in the Batman Caped Crusader cartoon that Bad Robot did. And of course, I, I guess Mayor Gordon in this one is black as well. He didn't quite look it. So, I don't know, but and then of course the Batgirl movie that got canceled uh, had cast a black woman. Uh, Although I think her family comes from the Dominican Republic, but anyway, so there was that sort of thing, and with its nature being this alternate universe, like yeah, all right, whatever, and I wouldn't really care. It's just I understand. It's like again, that kind of thing. Uh, because it's like you go back all the way to when they did the Man of Steel movie and Perry White, Lawrence Fishburne was cast as Perry White, and yeah, whatever, But since then, good Lord, the obsessiveness with it, and then of course, to the detriment of actual black characters that they came up with, just get ignored. So figure that one out. But anyway, is that enough to really classify it as philosophically woke? Well, superficially, which a lot of wokeness is, the superficial is paramount. So I guess there's a point there for that. But yeah, for the most part, not yet. I don't think I can say that. It's just woke crap, and that's it. But it's just it is what it is. It's only one issue. It just sort of introduced them and puts them in action and that sort of thing, and leaves a lot of things mysterious. And so eventually you get there, and hopefully it's crafted well as the story unfolds, and that's the key to a successful run of at least its first arc, anyway. And you can hope for the best on that. But as far as saving DC Comics and everything, I don't see anything there that's going to do that. Really, there are other mainline titles, if they can do those well, which is dubious. Then you might have something, but I don't know. The question is it too late? I suspect it is, but I've been pleasantly wrong in the past. So it really is a time will tell thing on Absolute Batman. Because see, it's kind of like Ultimate Batman. They did have an edition. I think there were like collections of DC titles that they called the Absolute. So now that kind of runs against that. So, but I thought I heard something. Yeah, I was doing that when I was toying with the idea of doing my own type of take on this with Night and changing him up with an alternate version, and still might. That's sounds kind of fun. But apparently, Scott Snyder, who came up with this whole project and is writing Absolute Batman, initially wanted the titles to be Batman as fuck, so it'd be Batman AF, and that would have been the title. I think we don't really want to put that on the cover, so they went with Absolute, even though it's a title they've used before. I don't know, they probably should have just gone back to All Star or something. That kind of refers to their past. But anyway, that's where they are with it. The Superman title looks pretty awful. Sounds kind of terrible, but I'd be wrong. One of the coolest things that looked really interesting was the Wonder Woman title, but I don't know. Odds are that poor Wonder Woman never gets any justice. Every now and then they'll have a good run and they'll ruin it for her. But this one is like, instead of Paradise Island, she ended up being raised in Hades. And so now I guess she's more Wonder Witch than Wonder Woman, and that she apparently does a lot of mystical stuff. Was apparently raised by Cersei, who was actually one of her main villains in the original run. But she's, of course, a sorceress goddess and all that sort of thing. So a lot of magic tricks that Wonder Woman will probably possess. Plus, she has this cool a black skeleton flying horse that she rides around in. The imagery looked really interesting and cool, but it's probably just going to be some crap, misandrous messaging and that sort of thing. I think the Steve Trevor in this one will be a homosexual man, so not her boyfriend, and she'll probably be a lesbian. The thing about Wonder Woman, and in this one, of course, it's all different. She was raised in Haiti, so it's a different story. But in wanting her to be a lesbian, she grew up on that Paradise Island, which is populated only by women. So odds are she had a girlfriend, But as soon as she meets a man, and Steve Trevor was the first man she ever actually met, she couldn't get off that island fast enough, So it's like Wonder Woman was only gay for the stay, And poor girl, what was she supposed to do? So anyway, but this one is a different universe, and I don't know, whatever causes homosexuality. A few screws were twisted this way and that way genetically or something. I don't know. And she might be gay here, but apparently Steve Trevor gonna be gay. So, and then, well, that's just Steve Trevor, but apparently the absolute Superman, they're saying, will be pansexual. At least that's the rumor. And at that point, yeah, okay, it's just got to obey woke rules. This late date, while trying to salvage your brands and whatnot, Jim, what happened? Why did people stop reading these? Well, yeah. So that kind of thing more than likely won't do you any good, even though, like I said, this stuff doesn't really count, does it? So this is an initiative that maybe Batman will be the one that's the most mildly entertaining one. And then it's just, oh man, I want to do this for the next 4 years or something like that, a 4-year story. I doubt that'll reach its conclusion. And they'll have to put their concentration on their actual Batman and stop chasing around things that just add confusion to it, because you're really in no position to be screwing around like that. But screw around, they continue to do. Now, there was the announcement that Jim Lee and Jeff Loeb team up once again to do the regular Batman title, which is something Jim Lee, at least, should have been drawing DC Comics quite a while now. Because I don't, what does he do? He's supposed to be the president of the company, but I don't know. And, but, it's a good idea, but again, it's probably too late. As for Scott Snyder, there's a lot of following for him, but I was never really that impressed with him. He's certainly better than most of the crap writers you've had of late. But like his Court of Owls is probably his best run on it, and I was like, yeah, it's all right. There's some interesting things. But he's the one who kept introducing all these retconned histories and stuff, and the Wayne family was always synonymous with bats, and you go back to the caveman days, stuff like that. It was ridiculous. So I don't know. But just a basic superhero vigilante fighting this criminal mob, and and so how are they going to reintroduce a lot of the villainous characters? And it ends on doing something of that nature as well, and so you'll see how that unfolds uh, throughout. So that's like the only real mystery. But once you've done it, then well, it's just another Batman title. He just doesn't have the mansion or the cave. That's not me. That's the chair. Already got to get another chair. Oh God, the back pain. Oh, normally I put this in Photoshop and take a break, but I gotta take off. It's gonna be time to do crime report. So let me check out the chat. DJ Play Nice. Wee! Thank you. Nodak123, hit the like button. Yes, listen to Nodak123. Nodak123, never mind, don't hit the like button until Doug gets the camera working. I did get it working. Didn't I? I better look. Get off the screen. Oh, yeah, there it is. Yeah, I did. I thought. Camera working, whatever. Nodak123. Banner was lucky it turned out that way. If his calculations were even a little off, it could have turned him into the pathetic Hulk, the pathetic Sulk. Oh, yeah. I thought you were going to say it could have turned him into the She-Hulk. And they're kicking themselves thinking, oh, man, that's what we could have done for the movie. Nodak123, why is it only comics that do the other dimension stuff? Why not sitcoms? What if Joe Brian Hackett never opened an airline in the TV show Wings? Or if Balky never moved to Chicago in Perfect Strangers? Yes, that's true. You see, they could have spun off an entire new series that's not really a spinoff. It's the same show, just a different premise. Yeah. Or like Sam Malone, he never quit baseball or became an alcoholic or whatever it was that landed him at Cheers. Batman AF was funny. Yeah. They decided not to let him do that. So I might just steal that for Night Night. Nodak123, Scott Snyder should stick to singing his B-52 songs. Wait, that's Fred Schneider. My mistake. Yeah, and he spells it differently. So, yeah, totally different guy. No relation. Nodak123, Doug, have you seen the Venom 3 trailer? Woof, that looks bad. Yeah, I saw it. Of course, it's not the actual Venom story. The first movie is fine. The second one fizzles and goes bad, which is unfortunate because it could have had something there. The Sony Marvel movies are awful, and odds are Venom 3 will be no different. I don't have any hope for the Craven movie. That sounds really stupid. And yeah, it's just trying to be silly, and he's got the Venom horse, stuff like that. Yeah. So, but it'll probably be their most, or maybe not, I don't know, their most successful, which won't say much because the other movies are absolute disasters. So Nodak123, I don't feel like Marvel or DC represents me in any comic movie. Where are all the left-handed heroes? Make me a movie for me. Yeah, that's the thing. Yeah, I've never seen representation of me in any of this stuff. But if it's just any white man, then I'm represented, which is why, like I say, yeah, I've always been a dead ringer for Henry Cavill, so there you go. Oh, I don't want to see some old 50-year-old, overweight idiot in a cape. How believable is that? Anyway, yeah, representation is just one of these dumb things that people fall for and think it sounds smart, but it's not. Anyway, that's my little, I can see all kinds of mistakes. Boy, that's too skinny of an arm. It's hard to draw and talk at the same time. Imagine if I was chewing gum also. It would have been even more of a mess. But anyway, that's pretty close to it. That's how the gloves go. And, that's how the wings go there. Oh, wait, I guess I'm not really Am I doing? Yeah, I am doing. Okay. Jeez. And his bat symbol, which I made it more bat-like than it actually is on the proper art of the comic book, which is basically just a black triangle with a few little doop, doop, doop things sticking out. But it's this thing. He's got a little pole somewhere in his belt that he pulls out and extends and attaches to this, and it becomes a battle axe that he does chop some limbs off with. So it's a violent comic book, but it's just a really dumb idea. I think they should abandon that pretty quick. He's got other weapons and stuff, and okay, he's a bit more of a bruiser than Batman has been for the most part, anyway. And then it's the weird cape, But there you go. That's Batman, our absolute Batman. Batman, all fucked up. I mean, as fuck. Yeah. All right, I'm going to take off and catch up with Pat Dixon to tape another episode of New York City Crime Report for Censored.tv, or Compound Censored.tv, I guess it is now. And check that out. Should be posted sometime tomorrow. And if you're not a subscriber, just choose to do so to watch that show. And use the promo code PAT. Pat, I know. I was surprised too by a staggering coincidence. The promo code is also the same spelling as Pat's first name. It's funny how that works out, but these things happen. Anyway, have a good night, everybody. And hopefully I can do another one tomorrow. Yeah. Nodak123. Thanks, Doug. Well, thank you, Nodak123. You're welcome. I guess let's see if this actually works. Where did I leave the ending theme song? There it is. Will it play? I don't know. Let's find out. I've clicked it and
This is the end, beautiful friend. This is the end, my friend. It hurts to set you free, but you'll never follow me, because this is the end. This is the end.